Hello, Z here. I'm sitting in my car outside of Comerica Park in downtown Detroit. I'm about to go to a Pilates class, but before I go, I thought I would read a little bit from a source that is really inciting me recently. See, I want to start a newsletter. No, I have started a newsletter. This newsletter is called The Wheelie. In the background, we have UFO, an audio doc, Z's captures from May 16th, 2025. But anyways, I want to start The Wheelie. Or I have started The Wheelie. The Wheelie is a newspaper by the biking community for the biking community here in Detroit. It's called The Wheelie in part because it is referencing the Wheelmen of Detroit, one of Detroit's prominent premier bicycle clubs that was started back in the 1880s. And the reason I'm sitting outside of Comerica Park recording this right now is because that was the location of the clubhouse that the Wheelmen built in 1890. I'm not quite sure of the exact location, but a friend mentioned that perhaps it's tin roof. And you know what? I might do a little bit of digging. But before I go to my Pilates class, I wanted to read from that inciting document that I was talking about. And that is in The Wheelmen, an illustrated magazine, cycling literature and news, from October 1882 to March 1883, Volume 1. This is the Boston, the Wheelmen Company, published in 1883. This document, I found another volume that detailed and wrote a story/journalistic expose of a transnational bicycling tour that Chicago Club, Detroit Club, and Canada clubs attended in 1896. There was about 40 people on this trip, and it just sounded so well organized and lovely that I was like, I wanted to be able to do that, and why can't I do that now? So the newsletter that I'm starting, The Wheelie, that I started, is partly inspired, incited by wanting to have this kind of organization handling that type of tourist attraction. So with that in mind, that we use the past in order to provide pathways for the future, I'm going to be reading from this first edition of the Wheelmen. Just some snippets, for example, some things that have brought my attention that perhaps could be seeds for the future, both for me and for whoever listens to this, and eventually whoever reads the Wheelie or participates. Because, like I said, this is going to be for the biking community and by the biking community, which means everyone's participation in whatever way is going to be needed in order for this to become a reality. So, some contents of Volume 1. All-day club runs. Alps by bicycle. Bells versus whistles. Bicycle clergyman and the bicycle club attend a sewing circle. Bicycle coefficient of safety. Bicycle for physicians. Bicycle pilgrimage. Bicycle the price of. Bicycle tour over the Rocky Mountains from Larimer City, Wyoming to Loveland, Colorado. Bicycle upon our highway laws, the effect of. Bicycle uses of. Bicycle songs of. Bicycle yarns. Ooh, that reminds me of Z's yarns. Book notices. They have just a variety of different types of books, not necessarily biking related. See the Kingdom of Ireland, Constitutional History and Development of the United States, Practical Hints on Camping. So we'll continue in the contents. Boston Bicycle Club. But is it safe? Oh, for the Boston Bicycle Club, they say, see First Bicycle Club. Clerical Wheel, club christening. Coming Horse, the Confessions of a Clergyman, Contributors Department. Cycling and photography. Cycling in France. Cycling sketches, drawings. Effects of the bicycle upon our highway laws. Experiences. Some First Bicycle Club. Okay, some repetition I see here. Let's see here. Ideal tricycle. Laws of muscularity. Some. Hygiene of the wheel. Thoughts on the ice. A typo's ride on the league. What of the look happy? Love on wheels. Notes on a wheel around the hub. Observations by the way. October ramble. On both sides of the sea. On the wheel. Our first and last member. Our minister rides the bicycle. Pulpit in the wheel. Question of prejudice. Race for a ribbon. Race for life. Songs of bicycling. The tariff questions. A vacation trip. True history of that club run. Tricing in relation to health. So those are just some of the contents that you can find. Oh, wheel. Oh, A from the gem of the Rockies to the Magic City. Wheel is a gymnasium. Wheel in Canada. Wheel in Oshawa. Wheel news. Oh, and then they have poetry. So, now I'm going to be reading from the announcement. And this will be where I will leave us just as some, thoughts for today. The Wheelman enters upon a hereto unoccupied field in American periodical literature. It is to hold the same relation to bicycling weeklies that the literary magazine holds to the newspaper press. It is published because the bicycling interest demands such a periodical. In view of the fact that its readers and contributors will be cultured and intelligent people, its typographical and mechanical makeup will be equal to that of the best literary magazines. It will be published monthly, will contain 80 pages. The October issue will appear September 20th. The magazine will discuss all improvements relating to the wheel. It will treat of the evolution and growth of the bicycle from a historical standpoint, including accounts of inventions, old and new, with comments upon their utility, comparative value, and permanent worth. Improvements as they are made relating to land and marine bicycles and tricycles will be described and their practicality discussed. The magazine will contain illustrated articles describing the manufacture of bicycles in this country and in Europe. A question drawer will be established in which all pertinent questions from any source whatever of general bicycle interest will receive due consideration and prompt replies. Mr. Charles E. Pratt, whose encyclopedic, accurate, and scientific knowledge of all matters pertaining to the wheel has made him the highest American authority upon these matters, has consented to contribute to this department. He will also furnish articles upon the legal and legislative interests of the bicycle and other topics. Melville Dewey, A.M., librarian of Wesleyan College, will contribute to a department devoted to the tricycle. The year's issue will thus form a book of over 900 pages, which will be virtually an encyclopedia of historical, scientific, and practical information in regard to the bicycle. We believe most emphatically in the future of the bicycle and tricycle. There are nearly 200,000 machines in use in England and nearly 20,000 in the United States. Bicycles have been in use in England about 12 years. In this country, 5 years. The elements of popularity and of general utility exist in a greater degree in this country than in England. More persons can afford bicycles. The distance to be traveled are greater. There's a greater need for a fascinating mode of exercise. Hence, we may safely assume that within the next decade, there will be hundreds of thousands of learners, users, and purchasers of the bicycle and tricycle. It is safe to predict that the next 10 years will witness a growth in the manufacture and use of the bicycle in this country unparalleled in the history of the wheel abroad. To direct, encourage, and accelerate this growth in the best manner is the mission of the Wheelmen. To this end, it has secured a corps of contributors of which any magazine might well be proud. The literary style, tone, and finish of the articles is sufficiently vouched for by the names of the contributors. A large percentage of the votaries of the wheel are lawyers, doctors, ministers, and scholars generally, who use the bicycle and tricycle for business, pleasure, and recreation. From the ranks of these men, comprising the leading scholars and professional men of the country, the magazine will secure its contributors. The general aim of the articles furnished will be to build up an intelligent public appreciation of the uses of bicycles and tricycles, secure appropriate legislation in regard to the many interests of the wheel, encourage healthy competition and emulation among manufacturers and users, discourage gambling at races, and everything that would tend to degrade the use of the bicycle to the level of horse racing and professional pedestrian. The Wheelmen will be a generally literary magazine. It will contain sketches of bicycling experiences by appreciative and effective writers, accounts of tours through America, England, and the countries of Europe, essays of a literary character upon various subjects connected with the wheel, such as the bicycle for students, the literature of the wheel, the morality of bicycling, etc., etc., etc. Articles upon bicycling in England, France, and Germany, where the magazine has able correspondence, and discussions of the hygiene of bicycling by prominent physicians. The romance and humor of the wheel will be embodied in bright stories and poems. This will be a distinct feature of the magazine. In the free and semi-adventurous wheel life of bicyclists, there often occurs humorous and romantic incidents. This side of bicycling will be ably represented by illustrated sketches and stories. The poetry of bicycling will find a place in its pages, for bicycling opens up a realm of feelings which can only be fitly clothed in verse. There will also be brief reviews of literary and scientific progress, brief editorial comments on bicycle-like matters of less general and less permanent interest that can be discussed in longer articles, and short notes on athletic progress in general. It will contain a brief and comprehensive resume of wheel matters at home and abroad, race trips, meets, club doings, and a calendar of coming events. The Wheelmen will be a high-class American organ of bicyclic and tricyclic opinion and sentiment, and, aiming as it does to meet the wants and suit the taste of its more cultured readers, will not cater to depraved tastes. It will contain nothing that would render it objectionable to the library, the drawing room, or the home circle. The pages of the magazine will be illustrated by competent artists. It is the intention of the publishers to render this department worthy of the supporters of the magazine. We shall endeavor to make each number a pledge and advertisement for the next. In short, we propose to give the choicest thoughts and experience of the ablest and most talented wheelmen, illustrated by our best artists and embodying the most appropriate dress that the highest excellence of the printer's art can secure. Recognizing the fact that wheelmen, as a rule, are gentlemen, and gentlemen in the truest sense of the term, the magazine will endeavor to be a wheelman among wheelmen, and will always strive to broaden and intensify that good fellowship which distinctively exists among wheelmen. The future of the wheelman, if it be only worthy of the name, is secure. To make it thus worthy is the determination of its founders. Advertisements. To those who receive this magazine, we will say that not a single copy has been sent at random. We need a constituency consisting of subscribers, agents, correspondents, and contributors. We need subscribers to enable us to publish the magazine. We want agents to solicit subscriptions, and we will pay them a liberal cash commission. We need correspondents to keep us informed of all club doings, runs, meets, races, etc. We want such a correspondent at every club and every place where there are bicyclists and no clubs. And finally, we depend for the matter which fills our pages upon contributors. We want a complete list of bicyclers and of club and league officers. It is the intention of the publishers to make the magazine just as good as support they receive renders possible. We wish that communications containing remnants, requests for agencies, news, and contributors. Let us hear then from each one who